Hey bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here with my spoiler-filled review slash book chat for The Black Prism by Brent Weeks. So this review slash book chat is going to be a chance for me to talk about some of the things that happened in The Black Prism that I loved and want to discuss. If you haven't read this book yet, definitely don't watch this video. You should go check out my spoiler-free review, which I will link for you. Man, guys, by the time I finished this book, I really had wished that I had done a book diary for it, which is where I check in as I'm reading it, because this book had so many reveals and things that I wish I had recorded my thoughts on. I wrote down a list of things that happened in this book that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. So obviously the first really big reveal that happens is when we learned that Gavin is actually Dazen, and the prisoner who we thought was Dazen is actually Gavin. I definitely did not see that coming at all and was floored when that reveal happened. The mystery behind how Gavin slash Dazen was able to switch lives with his brother is definitely something that kept me reading through the story. And honestly, now that I'm done with the book, I'm not completely satisfied with the explanation. There are a lot of things that Brent Weeks says in this book to try and explain how fake Gavin slash real Dazen was able to make other people think that he was Gavin. I was glad that Brent Weeks said that he wasn't able to fool his mother, because I would have definitely been in disbelief if he had been able to fool his mother. And honestly, I still don't completely buy why Karis wasn't able to figure out the difference. She knew both of them fairly well, and I know that that was the whole reason why Dazen broke off his engagement with Karis, because he thought that she would be able to figure it out if he moved forward with that, but they still spent a lot of time together after that point. So I'm just really surprised that Karis and other people weren't able to figure this out. Honestly, I wish that Brent Weeks had just made them twins. I don't know why he didn't do that. I know that there was this whole, big brother, little brother conflict or whatever, but I just feel like you could have still had that and still made them twins, and that would have made this whole switching places thing a lot more believable to me. Another big mystery that really kept pulling me through the book was finding out what had happened to start the War of the Two Prisms. It's hinted at multiple times that Karis had a relationship with Dazen when she was engaged to Gavin, and that the war was a war over Karis, but we really don't learn the full extent of what happened until closer to the end of the book. We hear a lot about how Dazen was this fake prism. A lot of people don't believe that he was even able to draft all of the colors, and that he's made out to be like this bad guy, but as we spend a lot of time in Dazen's point of view, I kept feeling like he doesn't seem like a bad guy. He keeps doing things that are good. Granted, he has his brother locked up, which obviously is not a good thing. And at some point we learned that Dazen killed all of Karis's brothers and all of the people that were in that castle or building or whatever it was. He burned women and children alive. And when we first find that out, I was like, there's no way that happened. Why did that happen? I need to know more. I was so intrigued. And then when we find out how it actually happened, and that Karis's brothers had trapped him in that building, and that basically he had accidentally killed them in self-defense trying to get away, and that he hadn't even realized that all of the doors were barred, which wasn't his fault. That was Karis's brothers doing, and that all of these people, women and children, died as a result of that. I was so heartbroken for Dazen, because now he has this huge, terrible reputation that all started because of this. And really, he didn't do anything wrong except fall in love with Karis, and Karis loved him too. I felt like the whole situation was so tragic, and learning all of the different things that transpired to bring Dazen and Karis to where they are now, my heart just broke for them. Also, learning about Gavin, the real Gavin, raping Karis, and then her becoming pregnant and giving up her child. Ugh, it was so heartbreaking to read all of that, and for Dazen to never have known that that's why she left for a little while. There was a little bit of the book, like when we first found out that Karis had given up a child that was Gavin's, that I thought that maybe Kip was her child that she'd given up. Now I'm not really sure because Brent Weeks definitely gives us lots of reasons why that isn't the case. I'm not sure if that's like a bunch of red herrings or not. I'm definitely not taking that out of the realm of possibilities, but I don't really know. After we found out all of that stuff, I just, in my heart, I just had wished that Dazen had trusted Karis enough to let her in on the secret way back then when he very first took Gavin's place, and that Karis would have agreed to keep a secret, and then they could have gotten married and like lived happily ever after as Dazen pretending to be Gavin, but Karis knowing it's really Gavin, the person that she loved. Like, I wish that could have happened, but obviously that wouldn't make for a good story. But I was just so heartbroken for the situation that these characters were in. And then towards the end of the book, we find out that one of Karis's brothers is actually alive. He's the Omnichrome character. That was pretty interesting. I was surprised that Karis wasn't more emotional about that, or like didn't try to talk to him more. I don't know. She just, after that happened, still was trying to save Kip and go over to Gavin's side or Dazen's side of the war. So I was kind of surprised that she wasn't trying to stay with her brother. It also makes me wonder if this Omnichrome character, does he know that Gavin is actually Dazen? I feel like he does, because I feel like his supporters are saying that Gavin is like a fake Prism or something. Or are they saying that because Lord Omnichrome, can he channel all of the colors like Prism would? Obviously, we don't know that much about Lord Omnichrome at this point, but he is a super intriguing character, and I'm looking forward to learning more about him in future books. Oh, but where I was going with that is, if he doesn't know when he finds out that Gavin is actually Dazen, then he's gonna have beef because Dazen is the one who killed the rest of his family and almost killed him. Also, I was a little surprised when Liv switched sides. I mean, I get it, she was trying to save Kip, but it just felt like she switched sides a little bit easy for me. I also really love that Liv is now suspicious of fake Gavin / real Dazen because her father is working with Dazen, and Liv thinks that Dazen / Gavin is blackmailing her father and forcing him to help her when really they're friends, but Liv doesn't know that. So she has like this twisted interpretation of what's going on. And that's like one of the things that I loved about this book is all of these characters have different motivations, and they, only know their part of the story, and it gives them different perspectives on other characters, and it's just all such like a twisted, tangled mess, and I absolutely loved that. I also wanted to touch on the prisoner, or Gavin. Honestly, his chapters were probably the least interesting to me. Luckily, there weren't a lot of them, but I was really surprised at the end when he escaped from his prison. Like, I thought he was gonna get out and like he's gonna be a big character in the next book, only to find out that he only escaped the first layer of the prison and that there are 6 more layers of different colors. That definitely came as a surprise to me. Okay, and then at the end of the book, when Gavin gets stabbed by what I'm guessing is the White Luxon dagger that apparently nobody knew existed because White Luxon is mythical, but somehow real Gavin and Dazen's dad knew about it. I guess they were looking for it before the war. All of that is so intriguing. Anyways, obviously this magic dagger is doing something to Dazen. He has lost one of his colors and he automatically thinks that he's dying, when to us it's pretty obvious that it's because of the dagger, because we know that Kip saw him being stabbed by the dagger. I mean, I get that Gavin doesn't feel like he got stabbed, and so he wouldn't make that connection, but it also seems kind of obvious to me, so I don't know. I think it's really interesting that Gavin assumes that he's dying because he's losing one of his colors. He says something like he doesn't know how prisms die, and that this must be how it happens. I'm also really confused about how prisms die. I mean, obviously it's not completely explained, but Gavin said that, Dazen, it's really confusing that they have switched places. It makes it very hard to talk about. But Dazen said that prisms die in increments of 7 years. But when do those 7 years start? Because wasn't the real Gavin Prism for a little while before Dazen took his spot? So how do those years or that time period that the real Gavin was prisoned count? Does that count as part of Dazen's years? I mean, probably not. So, like, is it offset by a couple of years, or like, how does that work? Hopefully that's like a question that gets answered at some point, but maybe not. Oh, one last thing regarding the dagger. So at the end of the book, Kip opens the box. First of all, I wish that he had just told Gavin he had the dagger. I don't see why he felt like he needed to keep that a secret. It would have made sense if he had kept it a secret after he had read his mom's note to him, but if I'm remembering correctly, he hadn't read the note yet. That happens after Dazen leaves the room. So I don't understand why he didn't just tell him that, oh, like, by the way, I actually grabbed this while I was in the water. But of course, that just makes for a more interesting story, I guess. We don't want to make it too easy, right? Anyways, Kip, who is finally starting to feel like Gavin / Dazen is really his dad, reads this note from his mom that says that Gavin raped her and that she wants Kip to kill Gavin. Ugh, that note broke my heart because, again, it's not Dazen's fault. Dazen wasn't the one who did it, and Kip should love him or, you know, have fatherly feelings towards him. But now he's all conflicted because he thinks that this guy who has been a nice guy raped his mom. But also, like, I understand that that would make Kip feel strange towards Gavin / Dazen, but I kind of feel like Kip has a lot of loyalty to his mom for someone who basically abused him his whole life. I didn't really understand why Kip was so attached to his mom when she treated him so badly. Granted, I'm not someone who has experienced that kind of a relationship, so I really don't have a whole lot of perspective on it. I just found it a little bit surprising. And one last random thought I had while I was reading this book has to do with the color system. One of the colors is super violet, and it's basically like not really a color. I've kept getting really confused when super violet would come up because in my mind, super violet sounds like it should be like really dark purple. Like violet is like a purple color, almost like a bluish purple color, and so super violet to me is like super violet, but it's like it's clear, like you can't see it. And to me, I wish that he had used the word ultraviolet because I get ultraviolet. Ultraviolet is like a color spectrum that we can't see. So like that makes sense to me, but I don't understand why he used the word super violet instead of ultraviolet. Let me know if that's something that occurred to you guys when you read this as well. Okay, those are all of my many spoilery thoughts and things that I wanted to talk about while reading this book. I think I might do a book diary for the next one, which would mean that it would be a longer video than this is, but I also think it's more fun because I can update you as I go along and things are happening. Let me know down in the comment section if you would be interested in a book diary of my experience reading the next book in the series, and maybe I'll do one. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you like bookish content. That is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, bookworms, keep reading. Bye.